Hello friends, am I audible and visible? Somebody please ping me so that I can begin with today's short session. Friends, as you can see on the board, our today's important topic of discussion is time management for the aspirants, specifically who are working professionals and those who are aspiring to become an IAS or an IPS officer. So time management plays a very crucial and important role in civil services preparation. Isn't that so? So civil services preparation is not just about strategy and consistency. Apart from this, time management also plays a very crucial role. And there are many students specifically who are working. And in such a case, or there are many aspirants, those who are working professionals, time management becomes a very tedious task for them. Like specifically, you have to work for 8 to 9 hours. Apart from this, there are many aspirants who face problem with commutation time. Like they spend approximately 1 hour to 2 hours of commutation time, specifically during the transportation. So, and after that, the body feels lethargic and we specifically don't feel like studying. In such a situation, how to manage time, it becomes a very crucial and important aspect. So in today's short video, we are going to discuss about the basics of time management. Now, before I begin with the basics of time management, let me tell you a quote by Mahatma Vidur. Mahatma Vidur was one of the most important central character of Mahabharata. And you can find the mention of this quote in Vidur Niti. Now, in Vidur Niti, Mahatma Vidur has spoken about 5 important characteristics of a student. First important characteristic of a student is Kakacheshta, Bakodhyanam, Shwananidra, Alpahari, Grihatyagi, Vidyarthi Panchalakshanam. Simple words. Specifically, like the students, like they need to have that kind of a consistency like a crow. You might have heard about the famous story of a thirsty crow. That crow keeps on pelting down the pebbles into the water, like specifically the pot, so that the water level comes up. Bakodhyanam. Simple words, your vision should be like an eagle. Third important, Shwananidra. Fourth important, Alpahari, minimum quantity of food that needs to be taken or consumed. And the last important one is Grihatyagi. You have to sacrifice something to achieve your goal. Now the question comes here, how to go for a proper time management during the preparation for civil services. So in today's session, we are going to focus on 4 to 5 important things that will 100% help you out in time management if you're working for 8 to 9 hours on daily basis. Suppose if your office hours, I assume that it is from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the evening. So how to utilize the time? In such a situation, like specifically around 2021, okay, CSC 2021, there was a person whose name was Kiran PB. Okay, and he secured 100th rank, and specifically speaking, he was one of the highest scorers in the interview, and he was working as a software engineer for the company Oracle. So continuously working. Apart from that, you have to manage time for your preparation. So a kind of a strategy that was being suggested by Kiran PB. So in today's session, we are going to focus on few important topics such as how to utilize the early morning time. Okay. Second important, how to utilize the commutation time, that is the transportation time. For example, if you're working and you have to move on to some other place, so at least it will take 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour to move to that place. Again, you have to come back. So how to utilize that time? So we'll be focusing on how to utilize the commutation time. Then how to leverage the leave days, how to utilize the weekends, that is Saturdays and Sundays. Okay. So how to utilize the weekends and how to stay consistent and avoid burnouts. So first of all, early morning study time. I assume that your working hour is of 9 hours and you work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay. In such a situation, utilize the morning time. That is a time from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Apart from this, like specifically speaking, while utilizing the morning time, I'll suggest you one method. use that method, and that is referred as Eisenhower method. Now, Eisenhower method divides the task into 4 quadrants. The first 2 quadrants are very, very important. Like the task which is important and urgent, do that first. And the task that is important but not urgent, schedule that task. Okay, so the 2 quadrants of Eisenhower method are very important. And this will 100% help you out during your preparation. Okay, so utilize your morning time, that is specifically from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Now, specifically speaking, divide your subjects into 3 important parts. For example, it is not necessary that all your subjects would be quite strong. It is not necessary that all your subjects would be quite weak. So divide the subjects accordingly. For example, strong subject, then a moderate one, that is an average subject, and then comes a weak subject. For example, geography might be your strong subject. Okay, so it simply means that you need to pay a little attention towards geography. I'm not saying that you have to completely ignore the subject geography. Okay, you have to give a little input in geography in comparison to the other subjects. For example, history might be your weak subject. And in that case, modern history might be a weak subject. But modern history plays a very crucial and pivotal role in your prelims plus mains examination. So you need to put in a lot of efforts, specifically in the subjects you are weak in. So the most important aspect that we need to understand here is divide the subjects into 3 parts: strong, moderate, and weak. Study for 1 hour 20 minutes, one core subject. Okay, from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. you have to pick up 2 core subjects. I repeat, pick up 2 core subjects of your choice. Study one core subject for 1 hour 20 minutes. Take a break of 15 minutes. Okay, then study again for 1 hour 20 minutes. Again, pick up a second core subject. Then you can go for your work. Now, why have we taken a break? This kind of a technique is referred as Pomodoro technique. Now, many of the students or many of the aspirants, they face a problem, and they usually keep on asking a question on Telegram. Sir, like we cannot sit for a longer span of time. So suppose if you have made a goal that you are going to study for 7 to 8 hours on daily basis, try to divide that time. Study for 1 hour, so 1.5 hour, take a break of 15 to 20 minutes. Again, study for 1.5 hour, again take a break of 15 to 20 minutes. In this manner, you will improve your consistency. Okay, and that kind of a technique is also referred as Pomodoro technique. So the aspirants, those who are working professional, please try to utilize the maximum time during the morning. That is from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. utilize your maximum time. So you can cover approximately 2.5 hours to 3 hours during the morning. Okay, and pick up 2 core subjects during the morning from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Then when you come from the office, before dinner, at least try to utilize 1 hour or 1.5 hour before the dinner, and at least 1 hour after the dinner for studies. So averagely on the weekdays, you are studying for 3 to 4 hours. That is from Monday to Friday, you are studying for 3 to 4 hours if you are a working professional. You have to focus majorly on the weekends. Okay? You have to sacrifice a bit of your weekends now. Because since you have to focus majorly on your preparation, you have to cover your GS papers, you have to cover your current affairs. Apart from this, you also need to focus on your optionals. You need to focus on your essay writing. So you have to sacrifice the weekends. So you should make a target that at least you are going to study for 3 to 4 hours on weekdays. Utilize your morning time specifically for core subject. Okay? Then, coming next, utilization of commute time. For example, okay, I'll give you a very small example. There are many people who are working into the corporates, and suppose they have to travel from one place to the other place. They have to travel from home to office. Now they are using metro, you are using a public transport, whatever, okay, transportation that you're using. Suppose it takes 35 to 40 minutes, or for that sake, it takes 1 hour for you to reach to your workplace. Utilize that 1 hour. How will you utilize that 1 hour? Read a newspaper of your choice. That is the Hindu or the Indian Express. First thing. Apart from this, read any current affairs magazine. Like for example, you can read Yojna or Kurukshetra. And Yojna and Kurukshetra are two important magazines that will not only help you in current affairs, it will also help you in essay writing. So utilize your transportation time or commutation time for reading current affairs, for reading what we say specifically any kind of a magazine or a newspaper. Or you can also listen to the podcast and the audio things. Like for example, you can watch the recorded class. Correct? Like for example, if you're following a particular video on a YouTube, or you have taken a subscription of a particular app or a class, in that case, you can utilize your commutation time to listen to the audios, okay, or the recorded lectures. So that will save your time. Okay. Apart from this, see, I will suggest you one more thing. Whenever we are having lunch, whenever we are having dinner, we do have a habit of watching something, correct? And usually in the northern part of India, people do usually watch Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. Isn't that so? So utilize that time for watching Prasar Bharati or the news of PIB, Press Information Bureau. Apart from this, you can also watch a series on Rajya Sabha TV. And that is referred as Samvidhan series that is hosted by Swara Bhaskar. 100% that would be quite fruitful for you in post-independence India. So utilize your time in that manner. So in crux, I would like to say, utilize your commutation time for listening to the podcast, listening to the recorded sessions, reading the newspaper, reading the magazines, reading the current affairs and so on. Okay. So morning time utilization should be for the core subjects. Pick 2 core subjects. Okay. Commutation time should be utilized for these aspects such as newspaper, current affairs, listening to the recorded classes. Moving ahead. This is our major focus and precisely for the working professionals. Okay. You have to sacrifice your weekends. Please make sure. Okay. Like specifically, suppose on weekdays you have studied for 3 to 4 hours. Now you have to dedicate compulsorily. Here I have mentioned a word, mandatory. Compulsory, you have to dedicate 6 to 8 hours of study. As discussed previously in the start of the session itself, now divide your task on weekends. Okay? Please go in a step-by-step manner. Please go in a strategic manner. Do not go randomly. Already you are falling short of time. So you have to plan your strategy accordingly. So first thing, divide your subject into 3 parts, strong, average and weak. Okay. Suppose you have decided that you are going to study for 8 hours. Out of 8 hours, suppose if you have decided that you are going to dedicate at least 6 hours for the subjects that you are going to study. Out of 6 hours, dedicate at least 2.5 to 3 hours for your weak subject. Compulsorily. On weekend, at least practice 1 essay writing, 2 to 3 mains answer writing practice and revision through notes or PYQs or the MCQs. Let me give you a very small example. A very small example. Suppose throughout your week, you have studied medieval Indian history. And in medieval Indian history, you have studied Delhi Sultanate throughout the week. Okay? Throughout the week, you have studied Delhi Sultanate. As a part of Delhi Sultanate, you have studied 5 important dynasties that ruled over the region of Delhi, such as Slave Dynasty, Khilji Dynasty, Tughlaq Dynasty, Sayyid and Lodi Dynasty, administration of the Delhi Sultanate. You have studied all these things. Now you have to revise this. Now you have to analyze that how questions do crop up in the UPSC prelims examination. So go through the PYQs and solve the MCQs. Like who had introduced Diwane Ishtiyaq department? Who separated Diwane Wazirat department and Diwane Arz department? Apart from this, specifically, which ruler is known for his 5 major experiments? So go through the MCQs during the weekends. Apart from this, answer writing plays a very crucial role in the mains examination. You might have lot of knowledge, but until and unless you are able to present that knowledge properly, okay, so things won't fall in line. and practice one essay writing. Okay, so during the weekends, you have to study for 6 to 8 hours compulsorily. Out of 6 to 8 hours, dedicate 5 to 6 hours for your core subjects such as history, geography, polity, economy, science and tech, ethics, internal security, international relations and organizations. Your optional subject, whatever you have decided. Okay? Dedicate 2.5 to 3 hours compulsory for solving the MCQs and the PYQs of the topics that you have studied throughout the week. 2 to 3 mains answer writing practice and 1 essay writing on weekly basis. Even if you cannot go on weekly basis for essay writing, at least go for a fortnightly basis. That is within a span of 14 to 15 days, you should write 1 essay. So utilize your weekends properly. Is that clear? And in fact, you can utilize your weekends by using the Eisenhower method. As I've talked about this, as per this method, you can divide your work into 4 important quadrants. The first and the second quadrant is very important. The work which is very important and urgent, do that first. And the work which is important but not urgent, schedule that work. Okay, so use that method, 100% it will help you out. Okay, then leverage your leave days. Plan your leave days or plan your annual leave properly. Okay, for example, whichever company you might be working in, there might be certain leaves that you have. Apart from this, there are public holidays as well. Utilize that public holidays. Okay, and use these days for dedicated study sessions. Most important thing that we need to focus here is revision is the key. Okay, like many of the aspirants have a question. Like many of the aspirants, they contact me on Telegram and ask me a simple question, sir, which thing to be read now? You have prelims on 24th of May and a person is asking me a question specifically around 15th or 16th of April, that which new content can I read for modern Indian history? My friends, I would suggest you one thing. Please try and consolidate your resources. It is better to read one book 10 times rather than reading 10 books. Do not go for reading multiple resources. Read a few important books. For example, you should know that which are the important books for geography, which are the important resources for environment, economy, history, and accordingly confine the resources and revise it multiple times. So please remember one thing, revision is the key. So whatever you have studied on the weekdays, please make out some time specifically for revising the concept. Is that clear? The most important another aspect is stay consistent. Okay. Sometimes you're feeling bored. Sometimes we are feeling lethargic. But do remember one thing. Mental discipline is the key. Even if you are not feeling like studying, please do sit for the studies. Okay? Because time and money speaks the same language. And it says, save me today, I'll save you tomorrow. So please remain consistent. You might have heard about Michael Phelps, one of the best American swimmers. So once upon a time, an interviewer asked him a question that how come is it possible for a single person to get so many gold medals? He gave a very beautiful reply and he asked a question to the interviewer itself. And he asked the question, when is the next Olympics? He said 4 years later. He gave a very simple reply and an answer to him and he said, for the next 4 years, spend 5 to 6 hours on daily basis in water. I'm pretty sure after 4 years, you will get the next gold medal. This is nothing but power of consistency. So during your preparation, you need to be disciplined. Even if you don't feel like studying, please sit for the study. Even if you're not in a mood to study, okay, sit for the studies. Okay, sometimes you might be having a very hectic work, specifically at your workplace, or you might have certain argument with your boss or manager, whatever it is like, and you're not feeling like studying, but still sit for studies because already you have a crunch of time. So stay consistent, I mean to say. And secondly, avoiding burnouts. We all are humans. We are not robots. Isn't that so? We also feel a bit tired. In such a situation, sometimes we also feel stressed. Sometimes a question mark comes in front of us. Am I on the right track? And like managing work, managing studies, will I be able to crack this exam? Because many of the aspirants have dedicated completely to their preparation. On one hand, I'm working for 8 to 9 hours on daily basis. On other hand, I am taking out certain time approximately for 4 to 5 hours on daily basis to study. Will I be able to compete with those aspirants, those who are studying on full-time basis? So sometimes there is a burnout because of stress, burnout because of overthinking. There's a burnout because of different other reasons. In such a situation, everyone knows about this. In such a situation, go for a brisk walk, listen to a beautiful music, socialize with your friends, okay? But that too within a stipulated time limit. So time is the most important constraint. So this is all about like what all steps that you need to follow if you're aspiring, if you're working professional. So first thing that we had discussed previously, I'll again go back to that chart. Okay, I'll revise those concepts because many of the aspirants, those who have joined late, they can understand things. First of all, follow early morning routine. 100% focus on this, my friends. It's my suggestion to all of you. Utilize your time from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and utilize this time for core subjects. Secondly, utilize your commutation time as well. That is your transportation time. Okay, either for reading the newspapers, either for reading the current affairs, either for reading the magazines such as Ojha or Kurukshetra, or watching the recorded lectures of whatever what we say channel that you follow or whatever classes that you're going through. Okay, so that should be utilized as a part of your commutation time. After coming back from your work, please ensure that at least you spend 1 hour before the dinner for study, and after dinner you spend 1 hour for your studies. Compulsorily. Please ensure that. So that at least during the weekdays, you will study for 3 to 4 hours on daily basis. Now comes the main point, that is your weekend focus. Compulsorily study for 6 to 8 hours on weekends. And out of 8 hours, at least dedicate 2.5 to 3 hours for essay writing, answer writing, and solving the MCQs and the PYQs of the topics that you have studied throughout the week. And revision is the key. As we had discussed previously, even if you read one book, revise it 10 times. That is the key. Leverage your holidays, and the last important one, stay consistent and avoid burnouts. Is that clear, my friends? So I would be coming up with a detailed strategy for the students now. This was a strategy majorly for the working professionals. I will be coming up with a detailed strategy, those who have dedicated full time for the preparation. Okay, so very soon I'll be coming with that strategy as well. My friends, StudyIQ IAS has come up with 50% off plus double validity on all the UPSC courses. The batches of StudyIQ are available in Hindi, then English, that is bilingual, Hindi plus English, and the most important one, the batches are completely available in English language that will cater to the needs of the aspirants precisely from southern part of India and northeastern India. Specifically, there is 1,000+ hours of live and recorded classes. Suppose you have missed the live lectures. Suppose if you're watching a lecture on polity or economy, and if you have missed that live lecture, you can watch the recorded classes, you can have an access to the recorded classes. Secondly, there is one-to-one mentorship. Simple words, there would be a mentor who would be guiding you throughout your journey for civil services preparation. He would be helping you specifically in framing the proper timetable, maintaining proper consistency. He would be evaluating your answers that you have written and also suggest you the proper answer writing techniques and so on. And once you qualify the prelims examination, there would be 100% refund of the fees. And you can also enroll as a part of Mains Residential Program. So this offer is going to end on 15th of May 2026. So grab this opportunity by using the code Alok Live that is flashing on your screen. I repeat the code Alok Live. One more thing, there's a double validity as well apart from 50% off. Now what is double validity? Suppose if I have purchased a course for 12 months, I can have access to that course for 24 months. Is that clear? The batches are available for 2027, 2028 and 2029. And the offer is going to end on 15th of May 2026. So please do utilize this opportunity by using the code Alok Live that is flashing on your screen. Hope so this video might help you out in time management. Thank you and have a very nice day. Jai Hind, my friends.